When we talk about complex characters in Harry Potter, there's one name that always divides fans right down the middle: Severus Snape. To some, he's the tragic hero, a man who sacrificed everything out of love. To others, he's a bitter bully who hid behind one noble act to mask years of cruelty. But the question that lingers, the one that defines his entire legacy, is this: did Snape truly deserve redemption? To understand that, we need to strip away the layers, the myth, the nostalgia, and the cinematic romance that came after Alan Rickman's brilliant performance, and look at who Snape really was. Because Snape's story isn't just about good versus evil, it's about regret, obsession, and the very human inability to let go of the past. Let's start with the one thing everyone knows, like his love for Lily Potter. It's the cornerstone of his redemption. When he realized that his loyalty to Voldemort led to her death, something inside him broke. He went to Dumbledore, begged for her protection, and when that failed, swore to protect her son, Harry. On paper, that sounds noble, but peel back that layer and you realize it wasn't pure love. It was guilt mixed with obsession. Snape didn't love Lily in a selfless way. He loved her in the way people sometimes love what they've lost. So deeply that it turns into something dark and consuming. His grief became his identity, and his devotion to protecting Harry wasn't born out of affection, but out of atonement. Every act of bravery he performed afterward, every risk he took, was done not to redeem himself in the eyes of others, but to quiet his own conscience. That's not to say he wasn't brave. He absolutely was. To play double agent for Dumbledore under Voldemort's nose, knowing that discovery meant death, required unimaginable courage. Snape lived every day on a knife's edge. He mastered the art of deception, endured pain, suspicion, and isolation, all to uphold a promise that alone demands respect. But bravery doesn't always equal goodness. Snape's actions toward others, particularly toward Harry and his friends, expose another side of him. He was cruel, often unnecessarily so. He humiliated students, especially those who reminded him of the people who wronged him. He mocked Neville Longbottom, a boy already burdened by fear and self-doubt. He insulted Hermione's appearance, and he tormented Harry, the very person he'd sworn to protect. You could argue he was keeping up appearances, like that he had to act the part of a cold, harsh teacher to maintain his cover. But the venom in his words, the personal nature of his insults, that wasn't an act. That was resentment bleeding through. Harry represented everything Snape hated. Yea, James Potter's arrogance, Lily's loss, and his own failures. Protecting him was both punishment and penance. This duality is what makes Snape so fascinating. He's not the villain people love to hate, nor the hero people love to worship. He exists in that gray space in between, where intentions and actions constantly contradict. He did save lives. He did play an instrumental role in defeating Voldemort, but he also perpetuated trauma, held grudges, and allowed bitterness to rule him long after the war had ended. And that brings us to the heart of the question: redemption. What does it really mean to be redeemed? Is it enough to do the right thing for the wrong reasons? Can courage outweigh cruelty? In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, when Snape's memories are finally revealed, we see the full scope of his life, the bullying he endured as a child, the loneliness that defined him, the single friendship that became his salvation, and how all of it crumbled when he turned to the dark arts. We see a man who made mistakes, recognized them, and spent his life trying to make amends. And when Harry later names his son Albus Severus Potter, it's meant as the ultimate act of forgiveness. But does forgiveness automatically mean redemption? Forgiveness is an emotional response. Redemption is a moral one. Redemption implies transformation, that a person has not just paid for their sins, but truly changed. And that's where Snape's story becomes murky. That did Snape change? Did he ever truly confront his bitterness, his cruelty, his prejudice? Or did he simply redirect his loyalty, swapping one obsession for another? Snape died protecting Harry, yes, but even at the end, His motivation wasn't about Harry himself. It was about Lily. His last words were not of justice or hope, but a desperate whisper, "Look at me." He wanted to see Lily's eyes one last time. It's powerful, it's poetic, but it's not redemption. It's not in the spiritual sense. It's tragic. Snape's love made him brave, but it also kept him chained to the past. And yet, maybe that's why his story resonates so deeply with people, because Snape isn't meant to be perfect. He's meant to be human. He's a reflection of what happens when pain becomes identity, when love becomes obsession, when regret becomes purpose. We see in him the parts of ourselves we're not proud of, the bitterness, the envy, the stubbornness, the inability to forgive ourselves. So did he deserve redemption? Maybe not in the saintly sense. He didn't earn a halo, but he did earn understanding. And maybe that's enough, because redemption isn't always about being forgiven by others. Sometimes it's about being seen for who you truly are, flaws and all. Snape was cruel, but he was also courageous. He was hateful, but also deeply loyal. He was everything we're told a hero shouldn't be. And yet, without him, the story of Harry Potter couldn't have ended the way it did. He wasn't the chosen one. He wasn't the shining knight. He was the broken man in the shadows who did the right thing, even when it broke him. And that, perhaps, is what makes him truly unforgettable. So, no, maybe Snape didn't deserve redemption, but maybe he didn't need it either. Maybe what he deserved, what we all deserve, is to be remembered not just for the worst parts of who we were, but for the moments when we tried to be better, and in that sense, maybe Severus Snape was redeemed after all. By the way, yeah, all the images in this video were cooked up by AI, and I'll be honest, I didn't go back and fix them because it takes forever to generate each one. I'm using the free version, so patience is not included, so if you see Snape looking suspiciously like a vampire in a few shots, just roll with it. The vibe's there, you get the point. Anyway, if you liked the video, please hit like and share. It really helps a lot. Thanks for watching, and peace out.